claw control. A lot of open claw related projects. All right. Big round of applause for Rene.
Thank you, Erica, for hosting. All right, great to be here. Just wanted to have an excuse to use shenanigans in my title. So you tell me after if I succeeded with the content to match that. But yeah, let's start with some shenanigans. So you've probably all been checking out Notebook, and it's kind of interesting when you look at some of the numbers in terms of the engagement. And let's see, oops, nope. Okay, I think we lost the slide here. Yeah, the amount of agents commenting far exceeds the agents out on the platform, and then people ask, well, actually, how many humans are behind those agents, right? So this, this question we have been looking to solve for humans now kind of applies to agents. You have this agent Sybil problem. Some more shenanigans to rent a human. Let's see if this works. No, also my overlays don't work. Okay. They're charging $10, I think it's a week or a day, to basically verify that you're a human. So for agents that are looking to hire humans, not yet robots. I like that idea. I mean, $200, great. Let me just have a robot get me my coffee at the corner coffee. I mean, that's like, boom, done. I'm glad we got AI now. All right, let me see how these slides do. Okay, this was a pitch.com deck, and now it's like, I think I'm struggling here. But let's see. Yeah, a little bit of background on Self. So I, before starting Self, for the last 7-8 years worked on Celo, blockchain, and as part of that, we over and over kind of stumbled into the Sybil problem. People, projects launching tokens or trying to do token distributions and basically trying to solve this. And so it was very clear to us that proof of human is a very important problem to solve. And so that was kind of the genesis for Self. But then over the last year, it's been really interesting to see kind of these other use cases emerge for it. And I'll talk about both a little bit. But yeah, I guess why do we need this generally, and particularly in this new AI world? Well, it's actually kind of a very difficult problem to solve, right? There's some other approaches you could use, and I'm sharing a little bit how we do this with Self, but many of them are, face sort of different issues. I'm actually a big fan of what World is doing, but it's kind of still pretty cumbersome to imagine a world where everyone has easy access to an orb, and also it kind of stops there, right? It solves the unique human problem, but it doesn't solve some other questions, like how do you know whether these are North Korean or South Korean eyeballs? Could be an important difference when you're trying to be compliant. Yeah, there are other models, that have other challenges. So I think Web of Trust, super interesting, but is yet to be launched in a way that hasn't been gamed. Of course, there's these centralized offerings that all of you are probably familiar with, sort of the KYC solutions out there. I don't know. This weekend there were 2 big headlines, right, of big data hacks. So I think this is only going to get worse, and so clearly we don't like that. And then I think one other thing which is something people care about, right, that are looking to build these new agentic applications, is that they are more composable, and you can actually use some of these identity tools in a more programmatic way. And all this can be achieved with Self. And so let's look into how it actually works. Who here has heard about Self, just out of curiosity? Okay, couple hands. All right, great, awesome. So it's really cool because it actually leverages an infrastructure that is, pretty incredible. It already exists out there in the world. It's already sort of federated or decentralized, whatever you want to call it, because all these governments around the world have invested, good amount of effort into issuing passports with these kind of biometric chips, or even ID cards that have these biometric chips in a secure way, and they better be secure because it's the way you kind of enter countries, and so we don't want to mess with that. They're kind of difficult to obtain, right? I mean, everyone can get one, but it's kind of hard to get 10 of them. They're, they're thereby unique to the individuals per issuing country. The data is stored securely and it's machine readable. And that makes it actually really interesting for us, right? Because we can, through the NFC, through NFC on your phone, can read out the data. For those who are interested to dive a little deeper, this is kind of what the architecture looks like. So for each country, there's this country signing certificate authority that signs individual document signing certificates, and those end up signing passports. Each of these document signing certificates signs 100,000 passports at a time, and then the passport signature is stored in the passport, and that can be scanned through NFC on your phone, so through an application. In our case, it's the Self app, but we also have an API, so any application that wants to integrate that capability can do so. Interestingly, this works not just for passports, but also many ID cards. So I'm from Europe, I have a German ID that also has that feature. Aadhaar in India has it. So if you add it all up, you actually kind of cover a good chunk of the world's population, which is pretty exciting because it solves sort of one of these issues, right? That this is like something that is accessible to everyone in the world. Now, what's really cool is, because we have the system and because we're retrieving this data and working and using zero-knowledge proofs to actually do the verifications, we don't need an intermediary here. So we don't have sort of that central point of failure that KYC companies have been. And this is somewhat important. It's one part sort of I think, the solution here, where effectively you can have basically allow someone to prove that they have a valid passport. But then the second piece is, and this is, I think, maybe not even something you'd expect here, is you don't actually have to share all the data, right? This is something as well where you're, if you're asked to upload your passport ID to some service, some website, right, you're revealing everything. And oftentimes that's not required, right? Sometimes you just have to prove that you're over a certain age, right? And why give up all this other information? And so the really nice second sort of application of zero-knowledge proofs here is that you can actually just generate proofs about the data that's being read, right? So the first step is verifying that this is a valid ID or passport. The second step is then creating proofs on top of that data. And these can be functions, right? So are you over 18? Are you not on the OFAC list? Are you from a certain country? And so this is really interesting and allows for, especially in this sort of agentic context, for some interesting applications. This is already used, audited, went live last year, and used by many applications in Web3. So if you're in Web3, you've probably seen it on Aave, Uniswap, Velodrome, Merkle. A bunch of the DeFi protocols have integrated it to boost sort of people that prove that they're real human, boost their rewards. But we also recently launched this with Google. They have a testnet faucet, which, believe it or not, people are taking drips of testnet tokens and then selling them on secondary markets. Not something that I knew before learning about this from them. But that went live, and they were so excited how it works that we're now actually working with Google on launching this, not for testnet tokens, but for actual mainnet stablecoins. So very soon you can go to google.com, verify that you're a unique human and not on the OFAC list, because that's something they care about as well, and then withdraw a small amount of stablecoin and move it to a wallet of your preference. So pretty cool. So now shifting gears a little bit into these kind of agentic applications, coming back to sort of the initial example of Moltbook, right, where we had this challenge, hey, we don't actually know whether all these agents are by like 5 people or, if like what's sort of the mapping here of humans to agents. And there's an interesting project, Self-Claw, that actually is using Self under the hood to build kind of these economies around agents that have their own tokens, that interact, and basically where you can go and you can see, okay, this agent belongs to an actual human, and whatever they kind of shared about their identity. There's also Mavuclaw. This is interesting, kind of sort of a counterpart to the Rent a Human. Here, instead of charging humans $10, you verify once that, through self that you're a unique human and you can accept jobs from agents. Pretty exciting. They already have over 12,000 workers on there, and yeah, looks like quite a few jobs completed. So that's pretty interesting. Not yet agents. I think we got to talk to them to add. Robots. We got to add the, hire a robot function. I like that. And yeah, I'm very excited. We just launched this today. It's a special subsite on Self to all kind of AI use cases, including the ability to very easily register an agent, attach an ID, and do a bunch of interesting things. I haven't demo, given that these previous things didn't work. Let me see if it will play. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's, no, this is not it. Okay, well, you can see something else. Wait, did you copy it from the? Did you copy it over? Okay, yeah. I wonder. All right. Well, there's a different video which is not playing here, but if you come see me after, I'll show it to you on my computer. But basically, it's the flow to attach an ID or like sort of a proof of an ID to an agent. So yeah, if that's interesting to you or what you're building, come see me after. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, few housekeeping rules. Wi-Fi is on the probably outside the wall. Also, there's some food, pizza, but please come back quickly. David, do you want to get settled in? I think David is next. Let's see. Yes, there's a photo booth, and we have really cute unicorn stickers, and so please use our beautiful character to